time doesn't exist. How your mind can control time. Written and published by Mindsmore. Introduction. Have you ever felt trapped in a cage of seconds, minutes, and hours? Like a hamster endlessly spinning on a wheel, chasing a future that never arrives, haunted by a past that refuses to let go. We are prisoners of time, or so we believe. But what if I told you the bars of that cage are an illusion? That time, as we know it, doesn't actually exist. Prepare to have your mind bent, your perceptions challenged, and your reality reshaped. This isn't just another self-help book promising to manage your time better. This is a journey into the heart of existence, a quest to unlock the timeless dimension within you. We'll delve into the fascinating world of physics, where Einstein's theories warp the very fabric of time and quantum mechanics throws causality out the window. We'll explore the psychology of time perception, revealing how our brains construct this relentless ticking clock. And we'll venture into the realm of consciousness, where the boundaries of past, present, and future dissolve into a sea of infinite possibility. This book is an invitation to step off the hamster wheel, to escape the clutches of chronological tyranny. It's a guide to living fully in the now, to unleashing your creative potential, and to experiencing the profound liberation of a timeless existence. Buckle up, because we're about to embark on an adventure that will forever change the way you perceive reality. Welcome to the timeless universe that awaits within you. Chapter 1. The Illusion of Time. Okay, let's get one thing straight. Your brain is a liar. A master illusionist, weaving a tapestry of perception that you call reality. And one of its most cunning tricks, time. We experience time as this linear, relentless march forward, past, present, future. Tick-tock, tick-tock. The clock hands relentlessly reminding us of its passage. Birthdays pile up like unread emails, wrinkles etch themselves onto our faces like lines on a weathered map. Time, we're told, is a thief, stealing our youth, our opportunities, our very lives. But what if this whole time thing is just a grand illusion, a convenient fiction our brains concoct to make sense of the world? What if the past is not a dusty attic of memories, the future not an unwritten book, but merely different facets of a single, eternal now? Hold on tight, because we're about to dive headfirst down the rabbit hole of perception. Let's start with a little experiment. Take a look at this image. What do you see? A dancer twirling clockwise, counterclockwise, a cube with the front face jutting out, or receding. Your brain, bless its cotton socks, is trying to make sense of the ambiguous information, flipping between interpretations. But the truth is, the image itself isn't changing. It's your perception that's in flux. Time is much like this optical illusion. We perceive it as a flowing river, carrying us inexorably from birth to death. But what if the river is an illusion, and we're actually standing on a timeless shore, watching the ripples and eddies of our own consciousness? Think about it. Our experience of time is incredibly subjective. Remember those endless summer days of childhood stretching out like taffy? Or that agonizing minute on hold, listening to elevator music that seems to loop for eternity? Our emotions, our focus, our mental state, they all warp and distort our perception of time. And it's not just our individual minds playing tricks on us. Culture, too, has a hand in shaping our temporal experience. The ancient Mayans, with their cyclical calendars, saw time as a recurring wheel, not a linear arrow. Indigenous cultures around the world perceive time as interwoven with nature's rhythms, with the cycles of the seasons, the waxing and waning of the moon. Even our modern obsession with clock watching is a cultural construct, a product of the Industrial Revolution and its demand for synchronized efficiency. So, if time is so subjective, so malleable, can we really say it exists in any objective sense? Physicists, those intrepid explorers of reality, have been grappling with this question for centuries. Newton, with his clockwork universe, believed time was an absolute ticking away uniformly throughout the cosmos. But then came Einstein, that rebellious genius who blew Newton's tidy model to smithereens. Einstein's theory of relativity, with its mind-bending concepts of time dilation and space-time curvature, revealed that time is not a universal constant, but a relative dimension, intertwined with space and gravity. Time, it turns out, is stretchy, like a cosmic rubber band. The faster you move, the slower time passes for you relative to someone standing still. And the closer you are to a massive object, like a black hole, the more time slows down. Think about astronauts orbiting Earth on the International Space Station. They're whizzing around the planet at incredible speeds, experiencing time at a slightly slower rate than us Earthbound folks. It's not a huge difference, mind you, but it's measurable. So when those astronauts return to Earth, they've actually aged a tiny bit less than the rest of us. Time travel, baby. Okay, it's not exactly Back to the Future, but it's a start. But the rabbit hole goes even deeper. Quantum physics, that realm of subatomic weirdness, throws even more wrenches into the clockwork. At the quantum level, time becomes fuzzy, uncertain. Particles can exist in multiple states at once, blurring the lines between past, present, and future. Some physicists even theorize that time might not exist at all at the most fundamental level of reality. So what does all this mean for you, dear reader? Does it mean you can chuck your alarm clock out the window and declare yourself a time lord? Not quite, although that would make mornings a lot more interesting. But it does mean that your relationship with time is far more complex and fluid than you might have imagined. The time you experience is a construction, a mental model that helps you navigate the world. But it's not the ultimate truth. Beneath the ticking clock, beneath the relentless march of days and years, lies a timeless dimension, a realm of infinite possibility. And that, my friend, is where the real adventure begins. Chapter 2. Time as a tool, how we became slaves to the clock. All right, so time might be an illusion, a phantom of perception. But let's be real, it's a damn useful illusion. We need some way to organize this messy, chaotic experience we call life, right? Enter time, the ultimate organizer. Think of time as a cosmic filing system. Birthdays, meetings, deadlines, historical events, we neatly categorize them all according to this linear framework. Without it, we'd be lost in a swirling soup of experiences, unable to make sense of the world or plan for the future. But here's the catch: like any tool, time can be misused. A hammer can build a house or crack a skull. Fire can warm your home or burn it to the ground. And time, well, time can be a ladder to your dreams or a cage that traps you in a cycle of stress and dissatisfaction. We've become obsessed with time, haven't we? Our lives are ruled by schedules, deadlines, and the relentless ticking of the clock. We're always rushing, always trying to cram more into every minute, as if life were a game show where the winner gets the most done before the buzzer. But this obsession comes at a cost. We sacrifice the present moment for the sake of some future goal, some imagined reward. We worry about the past, regretting missed opportunities and dwelling on mistakes. We live in a constant state of anticipation or regret, rarely fully present in the here and now. And the irony is, this frantic pursuit of time often leaves us feeling like we have less of it. The more we try to control time, the more it seems to slip through our fingers like sand. We become slaves to the clock, our lives dictated by external pressures rather than our own internal rhythms. Think about it. How often do you find yourself saying things like, "I don't have time. I'm running out of time. I need to kill some time." Our language is riddled with expressions that reinforce the idea of time as a scarce and precious commodity, something to be hoarded, managed, and maximized. We talk about spending time, saving time, wasting time, as if it were a currency we can deposit in a cosmic bank. But this scarcity mindset creates a sense of urgency, a constant pressure to achieve, to produce, to tick things off our to-do lists. We become human doings instead of human beings, our worth measured by how much we accomplish in a given time frame. what about aging? Our culture is obsessed with youth, with fighting the inevitable march of time. We spend billions on anti-aging creams, cosmetic surgery, and fitness regimes, all in a desperate attempt to slow down the clock. But this fear of aging only reinforces the illusion of time as a linear progression towards decline and decay. The truth is, aging is not a decline but a transformation. Each stage of life has its own unique beauty, its own challenges and rewards. By embracing the natural rhythms of life, we can find a deeper appreciation for the present moment, regardless of our age. So how do we break free from this time-obsessed mindset? How do we reclaim our power from the tyranny of the clock? It starts with awareness. By recognizing how our thoughts, language, and cultural conditioning shape our perception of time, we can begin to loosen its grip on our lives. We can also learn to cultivate a different relationship with time, one based on appreciation rather than fear. Instead of seeing time as a limited resource, we can view it as a canvas for creation, a field of infinite possibility. And most importantly, we can learn to live more fully in the present moment. By focusing on the here and now, we can escape the clutches of past regrets and future anxieties. We can savor the richness of each experience, appreciate the beauty of the world around us, and connect with the timeless essence within. Remember, time is a tool. It's up to you to decide how you will use it. Will you allow it to control you, or will you master it, bending it to your will and creating a life of purpose, joy, and fulfillment? The choice, my friend, is yours. Chapter 3. The Language of Time. How Words Build Our Temporal Prisons. Ever noticed how we talk about time? It's like we're describing a mischievous gremlin, always playing tricks on us. Time flies when you're having fun, we say, as if time has wings and a mischievous grin. Or we groan, I'm just killing time, implying we're engaged in a duel with this elusive entity. We even talk about saving time, spending time, and wasting time as if it were a currency we can stash in a cosmic piggy bank. But these aren't just harmless metaphors, my friend. They're linguistic shackles, subtly shaping our understanding of time and reinforcing its illusory power over us. The language we use to describe time isn't neutral. It's loaded with assumptions, anxieties, and cultural baggage. Think about the phrase "time flies." It paints a picture of time as this fleeting, ephemeral thing, constantly escaping our grasp. It reinforces the idea that time is scarce, precious, and something we must constantly chase after. No wonder we feel so stressed. Then there's the notion of killing time. What a violent image. We talk about killing time as if it were an enemy to be vanquished, a burden to be endured. This language implies that time is something separate from us, something to be conquered or controlled. But what if time is not an external force, but an integral part of our own being? And what about saving time? We're obsessed with efficiency, with finding shortcuts and hacks to squeeze more productivity out of every minute. But this relentless pursuit of efficiency can leave us feeling empty and disconnected. We become so focused on the destination that we forget to enjoy the journey. Our language also reflects our cultural anxieties about time. We talk about falling behind, missing deadlines, and running out of time, as if time were a race we're all desperately trying to win. This creates a sense of urgency, a constant pressure to perform and achieve. We become so focused on the future that we forget to appreciate the present moment. But it's not just our everyday language that shapes our perception of time. The very structure of our language, with its past, present, and future tenses, reinforces the illusion of time as a linear progression. We're constantly categorizing our experiences according to this temporal framework, creating a sense of separation between the past, present, and future. But what if this separation is an illusion? What if the past and future are not separate realms, but merely different perspectives on a single, eternal now? Some languages, like the Hopi language of the American Southwest, don't have distinct past, present, and future tenses. Instead, they focus on the validity and immediacy of experiences, regardless of when they occur. Imagine a language where you wouldn't say, "I went to the store yesterday." Instead, you might say something like, "My going to the store was manifest." This subtle shift in language emphasizes the experience itself, rather than its placement on a linear timeline. So how can we break free from the linguistic shackles that bind us to the illusion of time? It starts with awareness. By paying attention to the language we use, we can become more conscious of the assumptions and anxieties it carries. We can challenge the metaphors that reinforce the scarcity mindset and the pressure to perform. We can also experiment with new ways of talking about time. Instead of saying time flies, we might say time dances or time unfolds. Instead of killing time, we might say savoring the moment or embracing the stillness. By consciously choosing our words, we can reshape our relationship with time and create a more expansive and fulfilling experience of life. Here are a few more linguistic hacks to try. Replace "I don't have time" with "I'm choosing to prioritize other things." This shifts the focus from scarcity to conscious choice. Instead of "I'm running out of time," try "I'm focusing on what matters most." This reframes the situation from one of panic to one of purpose. Rather than "I need to kill some time," say "I'm enjoying this moment of stillness." This transforms a negative experience into a positive one. By playing with language, we can loosen the grip of the clock and open ourselves to the timeless dimension within. We can reclaim our power from the tyranny of the past and the anxieties of the future. We can learn to live more fully in the present moment, savoring the richness of each experience and embracing the infinite possibilities that unfold before us. Remember, language is a powerful tool. It can create our reality or confine us within its limitations. By becoming conscious of the language we use, we can break free from the temporal prisons we've built for ourselves and step into the freedom of a timeless existence. Chapter 4. Einstein's Revolution. Time gets a cosmic makeover. All right, time travelers, buckle up. We're about to blast off into the mind-bending realm of Albert Einstein, the ultimate rebel who dared to challenge our very understanding of reality. Forget everything you thought you knew about time, because things are about to get relative. See, before Einstein came along, everyone was pretty chill with Isaac Newton's view of the universe. Newton, the OG physics rock star, saw time as this absolute, unchanging backdrop to the cosmic drama. Like a giant metronome in the sky, ticking away at a constant rate no matter what. A second on Earth was a second on Mars, was a second everywhere in the universe. Simple, right? Enter Einstein, stage left, with a mischievous twinkle in his eye and a head full of radical ideas. He wasn't buying this whole absolute time thing. He looked at the universe and saw something far more dynamic, far more bendy. Einstein's theory of relativity, unveiled in the early 1900s, was like a cosmic earthquake, shattering the foundations of classical physics. He showed us that time isn't this rigid, independent thing. Instead, it's intimately intertwined with space, forming a four-dimensional fabric called space-time. Imagine space-time as a giant trampoline. Now, plop a bowling ball in the center. See how it creates a dip in the fabric. That's what massive objects like planets and stars do to space-time. They warp it, curve it, creating gravitational fields. And guess what? Time is affected by this warping too. The closer you are to a massive object, the slower time passes for you. It's like those clocks in the movie Interstellar, ticking away at a glacial pace near the gargantuan black hole. This phenomenon is called time dilation, and it's not just some theoretical quirk. It's been experimentally verified countless times. Remember those astronauts on the International Space Station? They're zipping around Earth at thousands of miles per hour, experiencing a tiny bit of time dilation compared to us earthbound folks. It's not enough to make them immortal, but it's enough to make you question everything you thought you knew about time. But wait, there's more. Einstein also showed us that time is relative to your motion. The faster you move, the slower time passes for you. It's like that scene in Superman where he flies around the Earth so fast that he reverses time and saves Lois Lane. Okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but you get the idea. This means that there's no such thing as a universal now. Two events that happen simultaneously for one observer might happen at different times for another observer who's moving relative to the first. It's like that old saying, time flies when you're having fun. Except in this case, time actually does fly when you're moving fast. So what does all this mean for our understanding of time? Well, for starters, it means that time is not this rigid, absolute thing we once thought it was. It's a dynamic, flexible dimension, woven into the very fabric of the universe. It also means that our experience of time is subjective, dependent on our motion and our position in the gravitational field. There's no single, universal clock ticking away for everyone. Each of us experiences time in our own unique way. And finally, it means that time travel, while still firmly in the realm of science fiction, is not entirely out of the question. If we could somehow manipulate the fabric of space-time, perhaps by traveling near the speed of light or warping space-time with some exotic technology, we might be able to bend time to our will. Now, I know this is a lot to wrap your head around. Einstein's theories are notoriously mind-bending, even for seasoned physicists. But the key takeaway here is that time is not what we thought it was. It's not this rigid, independent entity, ticking away uniformly throughout the universe. It's a dynamic, flexible dimension, intimately connected to space, gravity, and our own motion. So the next time you glance at your watch, remember that the time it shows is not some absolute truth. It's just a tiny snapshot of your own personal experience of time, a fleeting moment in the grand cosmic dance of space-time. And who knows, maybe one day we'll learn to dance with time itself, bending it to our will and exploring the infinite possibilities of the universe. Chapter 5. The Quantum Time Conundrum. When time goes subatomic, shit gets weird. Hold on to your hats, time travelers, because we're about to take a wild ride into the quantum realm. If you thought Einstein's relativity was mind-bending, just wait till you see what happens when time goes subatomic. We're talking about a reality where the rules of the game go out the window, where cause and effect do the tango, and where the very notion of now dissolves into a haze of possibilities. See, in the everyday world, we're used to things behaving in a predictable way. You drop a ball, it falls to the ground. You turn the key, the car starts. Cause and effect, nice and tidy. But in the quantum realm, the universe throws a wild party, and the laws of physics get a little loosey-goosey. At the subatomic level, particles don't behave like tiny billiard balls. They're more like fuzzy clouds of possibilities existing in multiple states at once. It's like they haven't quite made up their minds about where they are or what they're doing. This is called superposition, and it's one of the key principles of quantum mechanics. And guess what? Time gets in on the superposition action too. In the quantum world, time isn't this neat, linear progression. It's more like a choose-your-own-adventure book, where multiple possibilities exist simultaneously. Particles can travel backwards in time, forwards in time, or even exist outside of time altogether. One of the most mind-blowing concepts in quantum physics is the idea of quantum entanglement. This is where two particles become linked, even if they're separated by vast distances. It's like they have this spooky telepathic connection, where they instantly know what the other is doing, regardless of how far apart they are. Now, here's where things get really trippy. If you measure the properties of one entangled particle, you instantly affect the properties of the other particle, even if it's light years away. It's like you're sending a message faster than the speed of light, which according to Einstein is supposed to be impossible. But in the quantum realm, the impossible is just another Tuesday. Quantum entanglement suggests that time and space might not be the fundamental barriers we once thought they were. It's like the universe is playing a cosmic game of connect the dots, where particles can jump across vast distances and even across time itself. And then there's the whole issue of quantum measurement. See, in the quantum world, the act of observing something actually changes it. It's like those shy kids in high school who act differently when they know someone's watching them. Particles are kind of the same way. This has some profound implications for our understanding of time. If the act of observation can affect the behavior of particles, does that mean that our consciousness plays a role in shaping reality? Are we, in some sense, creating the universe with our minds? Some physicists believe that consciousness might be the key to understanding the mysteries of quantum mechanics. They suggest that consciousness might be a fundamental property of the universe, just like gravity or electromagnetism. And if that's true, then our consciousness might have the power to influence the flow of time itself. So what does all this mean for our everyday lives? Well, for starters, it means that the reality we experience is far stranger and more wondrous than we ever imagined. It means that the universe is not this clockwork machine ticking away predictably. It's a dynamic, interconnected web of possibilities, where time and space are fluid and malleable. It also means that our consciousness might play a far greater role in shaping reality than we ever realized. We might not be just passive observers of the universe, but active participants in its creation. And finally, it means that the future is not set in stone. The quantum world is full of possibilities, and our choices, our actions, our very thoughts might have the power to influence the course of events. So, embrace the weirdness, my friend. Dive headfirst into the quantum soup. Let go of your preconceptions about time and space. And who knows, maybe you'll discover that you have the power to bend reality to your will, to create your own timeline, to become the master of your own quantum destiny. Chapter 6. The Arrow of Time. Why we can't unscramble an egg. All right, time travelers, let's tackle a real head-scratcher. Why does time seem to move in only one direction? Why can we remember the past but not the future? Why can we crack an egg but not uncrack it? This is the mystery of the arrow of time, and it's a puzzle that has baffled physicists and philosophers for centuries. You see, most of the laws of physics are time-symmetrical. That means they work just as well backwards as they do forwards. Imagine watching a video of a ball bouncing. If you played the video in reverse, it would still look perfectly natural, ignoring air resistance and whatnot. The laws of motion don't care which way time flows. But then there's this pesky thing called entropy. Entropy is a measure of disorder or randomness in a system. And the second law of thermodynamics, that grumpy old rule enforcer of the universe, states that entropy always increases over time in a closed system. Think of it like this. You have a perfectly organized bookshelf, with all your books neatly arranged by color and genre. That's a low entropy state. But then your mischievous cat comes along and knocks all the books off the shelf. Now they're scattered all over the floor, a jumbled mess. That's a high entropy state. It's easy to go from order to disorder, but much harder to go the other way. You can easily scramble an egg, but try unscrambling it. Spoiler alert, you'll end up with a sticky mess. This tendency towards increasing disorder is what gives time its directionality. It's the reason we can remember the past but not the future. The past is a more ordered state, while the future is more chaotic and unpredictable. Now, here's where things get interesting. Some physicists believe that the arrow of time is not an absolute law, but rather a statistical probability. In other words, it's not impossible for entropy to decrease in a closed system. It's just highly unlikely. Imagine a room filled with air molecules. The molecules are constantly bouncing around, colliding with each other and the walls. Most of the time, they're evenly distributed throughout the room. But every once in a while, by pure chance, all the molecules might end up clustered in one corner of the room. This would be a decrease in entropy, a spontaneous increase in order. It's like shuffling a deck of cards. Most of the time, you'll end up with a random arrangement. But every once in a blue moon, you might shuffle the deck and end up with all the cards in perfect order. It's not impossible, just highly improbable. So, if the arrow of time is just a statistical probability, does that mean that time could potentially flow backwards? Could we one day travel to the past or witness events unfolding in reverse? Well, that's where things get really speculative. Some physicists have proposed theories about time reversal symmetry, where the laws of physics could potentially work in reverse under certain conditions. But these theories are still highly controversial, and there's no experimental evidence to support them. For now, the arrow of time remains one of the biggest mysteries of the universe. It's a puzzle that continues to challenge our understanding of reality and our place within it. But even if we don't fully understand why time flows in one direction, we can still appreciate its beauty and its power. The arrow of time gives our lives meaning and purpose. It allows us to learn from the past, to cherish the present, and to dream of the future. It gives us a sense of direction, a sense of progress, a sense of being part of something larger than ourselves. So the next time you crack an egg, remember that you're witnessing the arrow of time in action. You're witnessing the inexorable march of entropy, the unfolding of the universe from order to disorder. But you're also witnessing the beauty of life, the fleeting moments of joy and sorrow, the tapestry of experiences that make up your unique journey through time. And who knows, maybe one day we'll unlock the secrets of the arrow of time and discover that the past and future are not so different after all. Maybe we'll find that time is not a one-way street, but a winding path with infinite possibilities. Until then, let's savor the journey, embrace the present moment, and marvel at the mystery of time's arrow. Chapter 7. The Time Machine in Your Head, How Your Brain Cooks Up the Illusion of Time. Ever caught yourself daydreaming, lost in a vivid memory of childhood summers, the smell of freshly cut grass, the taste of popsicles melting on your tongue? Or maybe you found yourself consumed with worry, your mind projecting anxieties about a future that hasn't even happened yet. Newsflash, that incredible, time-bending machine you're looking for. It's not in some top-secret government lab. It's nestled right between your ears. Your brain, that 3-pound marvel of evolution, is a master manipulator of time. It's constantly weaving together threads of past, present, and future, creating a seamless tapestry of experience that we perceive as the flow of time. But like any skilled magician, your brain relies on a few clever tricks to pull off this illusion. Let's start with memory, that vast library of past experiences stored within your neural networks. Every sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch you've ever encountered is encoded in those intricate webs of neurons ready to be recalled at a moment's notice. But memory isn't just a passive recording of the past. It's an active reconstruction, a creative reinterpretation of events filtered through the lens of your current emotions, beliefs, and experiences. Think about your favorite childhood memory. Maybe it's a birthday party, a family vacation, or a special moment with a loved one. When you recall that memory, you're not just accessing a static recording. You're actively recreating it, adding details, embellishing emotions, and shaping the narrative to fit your current perspective. And here's the kicker. Every time you recall a memory, you're actually altering it. It's like taking a photograph and then adding filters, cropping it, or even photoshopping in new elements. Your memories are not fixed entities, but fluid, dynamic constructs that evolve over time. This explains why our memories can be so unreliable. We often misremember details, conflate events, or even create entirely false memories. Our brains are constantly filling in the gaps, making assumptions, and shaping the narrative to fit our expectations. But memory isn't the only way our brains manipulate time. We also have this incredible ability to anticipate the future, to project ourselves forward in time and imagine what might happen. This ability to anticipate is crucial for our survival. It allows us to plan, to make decisions, and to avoid danger. But like memory, anticipation can also be a source of anxiety and stress. When we worry about the future, we're essentially creating mental time travel, projecting ourselves into hypothetical scenarios that may never come to pass. This can lead to a vicious cycle of fear and worry, where we become trapped in a self-created prison of anticipation. And then there are those altered states of consciousness, where our perception of time can become truly warped. Think about dreams, those bizarre nocturnal adventures where time seems to have no meaning. You can experience years' worth of events in a single dream, or a few minutes can stretch out into an eternity. Or consider those flow states, those moments of complete absorption in an activity, where time seems to melt away. Athletes, artists, musicians, and anyone who's ever lost themselves in a creative pursuit knows this feeling. It's like stepping outside of time, entering a realm where the only thing that matters is the present moment. Even trauma can distort our perception of time. During a traumatic event, time can seem to slow down, as if our brains are trying to process every detail in slow motion. And in the aftermath of trauma, we may experience flashbacks, where past events intrude into the present, blurring the lines between then and now. So what does all this tell us about the nature of time? It tells us that our experience of time is not objective, but subjective, shaped by our brains, our memories, our emotions, and our experiences. It tells us that time is not a linear progression, but a fluid, dynamic construct that we're constantly creating and recreating. And it tells us that we have the power to influence our experience of time. By becoming aware of how our brains manipulate time, we can learn to manage our memories, to control our anxieties, and to cultivate a more present-centered awareness. We can learn to step outside of the chronological cage and embrace the timeless dimension within. Chapter 8. Consciousness Beyond Time. Is your mind a time traveler? We've been dissecting time like a frog in biology class, haven't we? Poking at its physics, its psychology, its linguistic quirks. But now, let's get existential. Let's talk about consciousness, that mysterious essence of you-ness that seems to experience this whole time thing. Is consciousness bound by the same temporal rules as the rest of the universe? Or could it be something more? Think about it. Your body is clearly subject to the ravages of time. Cells divide, wrinkles appear, hair turns gray or vanishes altogether, in my case. But what about your consciousness? That inner voice, that sense of I, seems to remain constant, a silent observer watching the movie of your life unfold. Now, I'm not suggesting that your consciousness is some immortal soul floating above the fray. But there's something undeniably strange about this subjective experience we call consciousness. It seems to exist outside the realm of physical laws, a realm where time might not hold the same sway. Consider near-death experiences, NDEs. People who have had NDEs often report a sense of timelessness, of being outside their bodies and witnessing events from a detached perspective. They describe encounters with deceased loved ones, profound insights into the nature of reality, and a feeling of overwhelming peace and interconnectedness. Now I know what you're thinking. NDEs could just be hallucinations, the brain's last gasp before shutting down. But some researchers suggest that NDEs might offer a glimpse into a realm beyond our ordinary perception of time and space. A realm where consciousness is not bound by the limitations of the physical body. Then there's the phenomenon of precognition, or knowing the future. We've all had those moments of déjà vu, that eerie feeling of having experienced something before, even though we know we haven't. And some people report even more striking instances of precognition, like dreaming of events that later come true or having a sudden, inexplicable sense of impending doom. Now, I'm not saying you should rush out and buy a lottery ticket based on a dream. But these instances of precognition, however rare, raise intriguing questions about the nature of consciousness and its relationship to time. Could our minds, under certain circumstances, access information from the future? Could we be tapping into a timeless dimension where past, present, and future coexist? Some theories of consciousness propose just that. They suggest that consciousness is not a product of the brain, but a fundamental property of the universe, like gravity or electromagnetism. And if consciousness is fundamental, then it might not be subject to the same temporal constraints as the physical world. Imagine consciousness as a radio receiver, capable of tuning into different frequencies of reality. Our ordinary waking consciousness is tuned into the frequency of linear time, where events unfold in a sequential order. But perhaps there are other frequencies, other dimensions of reality, where time operates differently, or not at all. Perhaps in these other dimensions, past, present, and future are all accessible, like chapters in a book we can flip through at will. Perhaps our consciousness, under certain conditions, can shift its frequency and tap into these other realms. This might explain phenomena like NDEs, precognition, and even those moments of profound insight and intuition that seem to come from nowhere. Maybe we're not just limited to the linear flow of time. Maybe our minds are capable of time travel, of accessing information from different points in the space-time continuum. Now, I know this is all very speculative. We're venturing into the realm of philosophy and metaphysics here. But these questions about consciousness and its relationship to time are not just intellectual curiosities. They have profound implications for our understanding of reality and our place within it. If consciousness is not bound by time, then what does that mean for our sense of identity, our free will, our very existence? Are we truly just fleeting moments in the grand cosmic drama? Or are we something more, something timeless, something eternal? These are questions that have haunted philosophers and mystics for centuries. And while we may not have definitive answers, exploring these questions can open us to new possibilities, new ways of understanding ourselves and the universe we inhabit. So open your mind, my friend. Let go of your preconceptions about time and consciousness. And who knows, maybe you'll discover that your mind is a time traveler, capable of accessing realms beyond the limitations of linear time. Maybe you'll find that you are not just a product of the past, but a co-creator of the present and a shaper of the future. Maybe you'll discover that you are, in some sense, timeless. Chapter 9. Time and Free Will. Are you really the boss of you? Okay, let's dive into a philosophical free-for-all, shall we? We've been messing with the very fabric of time, questioning its reality, exploring its quirks. But now let's talk about you, dear reader, and that oh-so-precious feeling of being in control, of making your own choices, of being the master of your destiny. In other words, let's talk about free will. Here's the thing: if the past and future exist simultaneously, as some physicists and philosophers suggest, then the whole notion of free will gets a bit wobbly. If everything that's ever going to happen has already happened, or is happening right now in some other dimension, then where does that leave your ability to choose? Are you really the author of your own actions, or are you just playing out a predetermined script? It's like watching a movie. You know the ending. You know what's going to happen to the characters, but they don't. They're living their lives, making choices, believing they have free will. But from your perspective, their actions are already set in stone. Now, I know this can be a bit of a downer. Nobody wants to feel like a puppet on a string, dancing to the tune of some cosmic puppeteer. But before you throw your hands up in despair and declare yourself a victim of fate, let's explore this a bit further. First, let's define what we mean by free will. Are we talking about the ability to choose between different options, even if those options are ultimately determined by factors beyond our control? Or are we talking about some kind of absolute freedom, where we're completely unconstrained by the laws of physics, biology, or even logic? If it's the latter, then yeah, free will might be an illusion. We're all bound by the laws of the universe, our actions constrained by our genetics, our upbringing, our environment. But if we're talking about the ability to make choices within those constraints, then free will might still be a meaningful concept. Think of it like a video game. You can't just do whatever you want in a video game. You're limited by the rules of the game, the programming, the physics engine. But within those limitations, you have a lot of freedom to choose your actions, to explore the game world, to create your own story. Similarly, our lives might be constrained by certain factors beyond our control. But within those constraints, we still have a lot of freedom to make choices, to shape our own destinies, to create our own meaning. And here's where things get really interesting. If time is not a linear progression, but a multidimensional landscape, then our choices might have even more significance than we realize. Our actions in the present might not just affect the future, but also the past. Think of it like a tapestry. Each thread represents a moment in time, a choice, an action. As we weave the tapestry of our lives, our choices create ripples that spread out across the fabric of time, affecting not just the future, but also the past. This might sound like science fiction, but some physicists have proposed theories about retrocausality, where events in the future can actually influence events in the past. It's a mind-bending concept, but it opens up some fascinating possibilities. If retrocausality is real, then our choices in the present might not just be shaping the future, but also rewriting the past. We might be actively participating in the creation of our own personal timelines, influencing events that have already happened. Now, I know this is a lot to digest. The relationship between time and free will is a complex and multifaceted issue, one that has puzzled philosophers for centuries. But the key takeaway here is that even if time is not what we thought it was, even if the past and future exist simultaneously, we still have the power to make choices, to shape our own destinies, to create our own meaning. So, don't let the mind-bending nature of time paralyze you. Embrace your freedom, make your choices, and create the life you want to live. You might just be surprised at the ripple effects your actions have across the tapestry of time. Chapter 10. The Power of Now. How to escape the time-traveling circus in your mind. All right, enough with the cosmic mind-benders. Let's get down to brass tacks. We've established that time as we perceive it is largely an illusion, a mental construct. But how do we actually live with this knowledge? How do we escape the tyranny of the clock, the endless loop of past regrets and future anxieties? The answer, my friend, lies in the power of now. Think about it. Where do you actually exist? Not in that hazy memory of your awkward teenage years, not in that fantasy of winning the lottery and buying a private island. You exist right here, right now, in this very moment. This is the only reality you can truly experience, the only point in time where you have agency, where you can make choices, where you can create change. But our minds are like mischievous monkeys, swinging from the past to the future, rarely settling on the present branch. We're constantly replaying old memories, rehashing past mistakes, or projecting ourselves into hypothetical futures, fretting over what might be. This mental time travel is exhausting, isn't it? It drains our energy, steals our joy, and keeps us trapped in a cycle of dissatisfaction. We're so busy chasing after the ghosts of yesterday and the phantoms of tomorrow that we miss the richness and beauty of the present moment. So how do we tame those unruly monkeys in our minds? How do we cultivate a more present-centered awareness? It's not about stopping your thoughts altogether. That's like trying to hold back the tide. Instead, it's about learning to observe your thoughts without getting swept away by them. Imagine your thoughts as clouds drifting across the sky of your consciousness. You can watch them come and go, observe their shapes and colors, without getting caught up in their drama. You can acknowledge their presence without letting them dictate your mood or your actions. This is the essence of mindfulness, a practice that has been around for centuries but has gained renewed popularity in recent years. Mindfulness is simply the act of paying attention to the present moment without judgment. It's about noticing your breath, your body sensations, your thoughts, and your emotions without getting carried away by them. There are many ways to cultivate mindfulness. You can try formal meditation practices, like sitting quietly and focusing on your breath. Or you can incorporate mindfulness into your everyday activities, like eating, walking, or even washing dishes. The key is to bring your attention to the present moment, to the sensations, the sights, the sounds, the smells, the tastes of your immediate experience. When you find your mind wandering, gently guide it back to the present. Don't judge yourself for getting distracted. It's natural for the mind to wander. Just acknowledge the distraction and return your attention to the present moment. As you practice mindfulness, you'll start to notice a shift in your perception of time. The constant chatter in your mind will begin to quiet down. The urgency and anxiety will start to dissipate, and you'll find yourself more present, more grounded, more connected to the flow of life. You'll also start to appreciate the richness and beauty of the present moment. The taste of your morning coffee, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the laughter of a loved one. These everyday experiences will take on a new vibrancy and meaning. And as you become more present, you'll find that you have more energy, more focus, and more creativity. You'll be able to make better decisions, to connect more deeply with others, and to live a more fulfilling life. So ditch the time-traveling circus in your mind. Step off the hamster wheel of past regrets and future anxieties. Embrace the power of now. This is where your life unfolds, where your power resides, where your true potential awaits. Chapter 11. Reframing the past and future. How to stop time traveling and start living. We've spent a good chunk of this book wrestling with the slippery eel that is time. We've questioned its existence, explored its paradoxes, and even delved into the quantum realm where it seems to lose all meaning. But now, let's talk about how to make peace with this whole time thing. How to integrate this mind-bending knowledge into our everyday lives. One of the biggest challenges we face is our tendency to get stuck in the past or lost in the future. We dwell on past mistakes, replaying old conversations, agonizing over what-ifs. Or we project ourselves into hypothetical futures, worrying about things that might never happen, fantasizing about outcomes we can't control. This mental time travel is like a thief, robbing us of the present moment, the only place where we truly have power to act, to choose, to create. But the past is gone. It's a ghost, a shadow, a memory that exists only in your mind. And the future? It's a mirage, a shimmering illusion that constantly recedes as we approach it. So how do we break free from this time-traveling trap? How do we stop dwelling on the past and obsessing over the future? It starts with reframing our relationship to these temporal illusions. Let's start with the past. Yes, we've all made mistakes. We've all said things we regret, done things we wish we could undo. But the past is not a prison. It's a teacher. It's a source of wisdom, a collection of experiences that have shaped who we are today. Instead of dwelling on past mistakes, try to view them with compassion and understanding. Ask yourself, what did I learn from this experience? How can I use this knowledge to grow and evolve? And remember, the past is not just a collection of regrets. It's also a source of joy, of love, of connection. Think about those cherished memories, those moments of laughter and connection that warm your heart. These memories are a precious gift, a reminder of the beauty and richness of life. So honor your past, learn from it, cherish it. But don't let it define you. Don't let it hold you back from living fully in the present. Now let's talk about the future. It's natural to have hopes and dreams, to plan and anticipate. But when those hopes and dreams turn into anxieties and fears, we've crossed the line from healthy anticipation to unhealthy obsession. The future is uncertain. It's a blank canvas, a field of infinite possibilities. We can't control what will happen, but we can control how we respond to it. We can choose to approach the future with curiosity, with openness, with a sense of adventure. Instead of worrying about what might go wrong, focus on what might go right. Instead of dwelling on worst-case scenarios, imagine best-case outcomes. And most importantly, trust in your ability to adapt, to overcome challenges, to create a fulfilling life, no matter what the future holds. So, release your grip on the future. Let go of the need to control, to predict, to plan every detail. Embrace the uncertainty, the mystery, the adventure of the unknown. And finally, remember that the present moment is all you truly have. It's the only place where you can experience joy, love, connection, and fulfillment. So, savor it, cherish it, make the most of it. Here are a few practical tips for reframing your relationship to the past and future. Practice gratitude. Take time each day to appreciate the good things in your life, both past and present. Forgive yourself. Let go of past mistakes and regrets. You are not your past. Visualize your ideal future. Imagine the life you want to create, but don't get attached to specific outcomes. Focus on the present moment. Engage your senses, appreciate the beauty around you, and connect with the people you love. By reframing your relationship to the past and future, you can break free from the time-traveling trap and start living more fully in the present. You can reclaim your power, create a more fulfilling life, and embrace the timeless dimension within. Chapter 12. Timeless Creativity. How to unleash your inner muse by breaking free from the clock. We've journeyed deep into the rabbit hole of time, haven't we? Questioned its reality, danced with its paradoxes, and even explored the quantum realms where it seems to dissolve into a sea of possibilities. But now, let's turn our attention to something truly magical: creativity. Because, my friend, creativity thrives in the timeless realm. Think about those moments of pure inspiration, when ideas flow effortlessly, when you're completely absorbed in the creative process, losing all track of time and space. Musicians, artists, writers, entrepreneurs, anyone who's ever experienced that state of creative flow knows the feeling. It's like tapping into a source of limitless potential, a realm where time ceases to exist and the boundaries between self and universe dissolve. But how do we access this timeless realm of creativity? How do we break free from the constraints of the clock and unleash our inner muse? It starts with understanding the relationship between time and creativity. You see, our obsession with time can be a major creativity killer. When we're constantly rushing, trying to cram more into every minute, our minds become cluttered, our focus scattered. We become slaves to the clock, our creative impulses stifled by the pressure to produce, to meet deadlines, to conform to external expectations. But creativity doesn't follow a schedule. It's not a 9-to-5 job. It's a wild, untamed force that emerges when we least expect it, often in those moments of quiet contemplation, when we allow our minds to wander, to explore, to dream. Think about Einstein. He didn't come up with the theory of relativity while chained to a desk, staring at a ticking clock. He had his breakthrough moment while daydreaming, imagining himself riding on a beam of light. It was in that state of playful exploration, of unconstrained imagination, that his genius flourished. So how do we cultivate this state of timeless creativity? Here are a few ideas. 1. Embrace boredom. Yes, boredom. That state of mind we often try to avoid at all costs. But boredom can be a fertile ground for creativity. When we're bored, our minds are free to wander, to make new connections, to explore uncharted territories. So the next time you find yourself with nothing to do, resist the urge to reach for your phone or turn on the TV. Instead, allow yourself to be bored. See what happens. 2. Cultivate stillness. In our hyper-connected, always-on world, stillness is a rare commodity. But stillness is essential for creativity. It's in those moments of quiet contemplation, when we disconnect from the external noise and turn inward, that our creative sparks ignite. So, make time for stillness in your life. Meditate, go for a walk in nature, or simply sit quietly and observe your breath. 3. Follow your curiosity. Creativity is fueled by curiosity, by that innate desire to explore, to learn, to discover. So follow your interests wherever they may lead. Read books, take classes, talk to interesting people. The more you feed your curiosity, the more your creativity will flourish. 4. Embrace playfulness. Creativity is not a serious business. It's a playful exploration, a joyful experimentation. So don't be afraid to let loose, to be silly, to make mistakes. The more you play, the more creative you'll become. 5. Trust your intuition. Creativity often emerges from the depths of our unconscious mind, from that realm of intuition and instinct. So learn to trust your gut feelings, your hunches, your inner voice. Don't overthink it. Just let the creative energy flow through you. 6. Let go of perfectionism. Perfectionism is the enemy of creativity. It's that nagging voice that tells you your work isn't good enough, that you need to keep revising, keep polishing, keep striving for an unattainable ideal. But creativity is not about perfection. It's about expression, about authenticity, about bringing your unique vision to life. So let go of the need to be perfect. Embrace the imperfections, the flaws, the quirks that make your work unique. By cultivating these habits, you can create a space for timeless creativity to flourish in your life. You can tap into that limitless source of potential, that realm where time ceases to exist and the boundaries between self and universe dissolve. You can unleash your inner muse and create something truly magical. Remember, creativity is not a luxury. It's a necessity. It's the driving force of innovation, the engine of progress, the source of meaning and purpose in our lives. So, embrace your creativity, my friend. Let it flow through you, unconstrained by the clock, unburdened by expectations. And who knows, you might just create something that changes the world. Chapter 13. Time Travel Paradoxes. Why you probably shouldn't kill your grandfather. All right, time travelers, let's have some fun. We've been getting all serious and philosophical about this whole time thing, but now it's time to loosen up and explore the wild, wacky world of time travel paradoxes. Because let's face it, who hasn't fantasized about hopping in a DeLorean, punching in a date, and zipping off to some other point in the space-time continuum? But before you start packing your bags for a prehistoric safari or a rendezvous with your future self, let's consider some of the potential pitfalls of messing with the fabric of time. Because as it turns out, time travel is riddled with paradoxes, those mind-bending conundrums that can make your head spin faster than a neutron star. Let's start with the classic, the grandfather paradox. Imagine you travel back in time and, for some inexplicable reason, maybe he was hogging the remote, decide to off your dear old grandpa before he met your grandma. Seems simple enough, right? But here's the problem: if your grandpa dies before he has kids, then your parent is never born, which means you're never born, which means you can't travel back in time to kill your grandpa in the first place. Whoa. This paradox creates a logical loop, a self-contradictory scenario that violates the fundamental principles of cause and effect. It's like a snake swallowing its own tail, an endless cycle of absurdity that threatens to unravel the very fabric of reality. But the grandfather paradox is just the tip of the time-traveling iceberg. There's also the predestination paradox, where your attempts to change the past actually end up causing the very events you were trying to prevent. It's like that episode of The Simpsons where Homer travels back in time and accidentally kills a prehistoric insect, only to return to a dystopian present ruled by giant praying mantises. Then there's the bootstrap paradox, where an object or information appears in the past without any discernible origin, creating a closed loop of causality. It's like that classic sci-fi trope where a time traveler brings a copy of Shakespeare's complete works back to Elizabethan England, only to discover that Shakespeare simply copied the book and claimed it as his own. So, who actually wrote those plays? The universe shrugs. These paradoxes highlight the potential dangers of messing with time. They suggest that even the slightest change to the past could have unforeseen and potentially catastrophic consequences for the future. It's like that butterfly effect thing, where a butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil can cause a tornado in Texas. Except, in this case, the butterfly is you, and the tornado is, well, potentially the end of the world as we know it. So does this mean that time travel is impossible? Not necessarily. Some physicists have proposed theories about parallel universes or alternate timelines, where changes to the past simply create new branches of reality, leaving the original timeline intact. It's like that multiverse theory in superhero comics, where every decision creates a new universe, a new possibility. But even if parallel universes exist, time travel would still be a risky proposition. You might accidentally end up in a dystopian reality ruled by sentient toasters, or worse, a reality where pineapple on pizza is considered a culinary masterpiece. Shudder. So what's the takeaway from all this paradoxical pondering? Well, for starters, it's a reminder that time is a complex and mysterious phenomenon, one that we're only beginning to understand. It's also a cautionary tale about the potential dangers of meddling with the fabric of reality. But most importantly, it's a reminder to appreciate the present moment, the only point in time where we truly have agency, where we can make choices, where we can create change. So instead of fantasizing about traveling to the past or the future, focus on making the most of the here and now. Embrace the present moment, with all its challenges and opportunities. And who knows, maybe one day we'll unlock the secrets of time travel and explore the infinite possibilities of the universe. But until then, let's leave the grandfather killing to the sci-fi movies. Chapter 14, Time and the Universe, Your Place in the Grand Cosmic Ballet. We've been on quite the journey, haven't we? We've wrestled with the nature of time, questioned its reality, and explored its mind-bending paradoxes. We've delved into the inner workings of our brains and even ventured into the quantum realm where time seems to lose all meaning. But now, let's zoom out. Way out. Let's contemplate time on the grandest scale imaginable, the universe itself. Because the universe is a time traveler extraordinaire. It's been on a 13.8 billion-year odyssey, expanding, evolving, transforming from a tiny speck of unimaginable density to the vast cosmic tapestry we see today. And within this grand cosmic ballet, time plays a starring role. Think about the sheer scale of it all. Stars are born, live out their fiery lives, and die in spectacular explosions, seeding the cosmos with the building blocks of new stars and planets. Galaxies collide and merge, their gravitational dances spanning billions of years. And black holes, those cosmic monsters, warp the fabric of space-time, creating regions where time itself seems to slow to a crawl. On this cosmic timescale, our human lives are but fleeting moments, mere blips in the grand scheme of things. Our worries, our ambitions, our fleeting dramas, they seem almost insignificant against the backdrop of cosmic time. But here's the thing, we're not just passive observers of this cosmic drama. We're active participants. We're made of the same stardust that forms those distant stars. We're connected to the universe through an intricate web of energy and matter, a cosmic dance that has been going on for billions of years. And just as the universe evolves and transforms over time, so do we. We're born, we grow, we learn, we love, we lose, we die. And through it all, we're part of this grand cosmic story, a story that has been unfolding since the dawn of time. But what does it mean to exist in this vast cosmic timeline? What is our place in this grand symphony of existence? These are questions that have haunted philosophers and mystics for centuries. And while we may not have definitive answers, contemplating our place in the universe can offer a sense of perspective, a sense of awe, a sense of belonging. It can also offer a sense of liberation. When we realize the vastness of cosmic time, our everyday worries and anxieties can seem less significant. We can let go of the need to control, to grasp, to hold on to the fleeting moments. We can embrace the flow of time, the constant dance of change and transformation. And perhaps, just perhaps, contemplating cosmic time can even offer a glimpse into the timeless dimension within ourselves. Because if the universe is timeless, if it exists beyond the limitations of linear time, then perhaps we do too. Perhaps our consciousness, our essence, our very being is connected to something larger, something eternal, something that transcends the boundaries of time and space. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by the pressures of everyday life, take a moment to look up at the stars. Remember that you are part of something vast, something ancient, something timeless. Remember that you are connected to the universe through an intricate web of energy and matter, a cosmic dance that has been going on for billions of years. And remember that you are not just a fleeting moment in the grand scheme of things. You are a unique and precious expression of the universe, a microcosm of the macrocosm, a timeless being experiencing the flow of time. Chapter 15. The timeless you, how to find eternity in the here and now. Well, fellow time travelers, we've reached the end of our journey. We've wrestled with the nature of time, questioned its reality, and explored its mind-bending paradoxes. We've delved into the inner workings of our brains, the vastness of the cosmos, and even the bizarre realm of quantum mechanics. But now, let's bring it all home. Let's talk about you, the timeless you. Because beneath the layers of conditioning, beneath the anxieties and fears, beneath the relentless ticking of the clock, there lies a timeless essence, a core of your being that is connected to something larger, something eternal. This timeless you is not bound by the limitations of the physical world, the constraints of linear time. It is a spark of consciousness, a fragment of the universe, a timeless being experiencing the flow of time. But how do we connect with this timeless self? How do we access this dimension of our being that exists beyond the confines of the clock? It starts with letting go. Letting go of the need to control, to grasp, to hold on to the fleeting moments. Letting go of the anxieties of the past and the uncertainties of the future. It's about surrendering to the present moment, to the flow of life, to the dance of change and transformation. It's about recognizing that we are not separate from the universe, but an integral part of it, a microcosm of the macrocosm. And it's about recognizing that time is not our enemy, but our ally. Time is the canvas upon which we paint our lives, the stage upon which we play our roles, the river that carries us towards our destiny. But we are not merely passengers on this river of time. We are also the navigators, the co-creators of our own journey. We have the power to choose our direction, to shape our experiences, to create a life of meaning and purpose. And as we navigate this river of time, we can learn to appreciate its beauty, its power, its mystery. We can learn to embrace the present moment, to savor the richness of each experience, to connect with the timeless dimension within ourselves. Here are a few practices that can help you connect with your timeless self. Meditation. Quiet the mind and connect with the stillness within. Observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment, allowing them to come and go like clouds in the sky. Mindfulness. Pay attention to the present moment, to the sensations, the sights, the sounds, the smells, the tastes of your immediate experience. Find the extraordinary in the ordinary. Nature immersion. Spend time in nature, connecting with the rhythms of the earth, the cycles of the seasons, the vastness of the sky. Feel the timeless presence of the natural world. Creative expression. Engage in activities that allow you to express your creativity, whether it's writing, painting, dancing, or simply daydreaming. Tap into the timeless flow of inspiration. Gratitude. Cultivate an attitude of gratitude, appreciating the good things in your life, both big and small. Recognize the abundance of the present moment. Connection. Connect with others, sharing your love, your compassion, your vulnerability. Recognize the interconnectedness of all beings. Self-reflection. Take time to reflect on your life, your values, your purpose. Connect with your inner wisdom, your intuition, your timeless self. As you cultivate these practices, you'll begin to experience a deeper sense of peace, of joy, of connection. You'll begin to recognize the timeless essence within you, the part of you that is connected to something larger, something eternal. And you'll begin to realize that time is not something to be feared or controlled, but something to be embraced, to be celebrated, to be cherished. Because time is the gift that allows us to experience life, to grow, to learn, to love, to create, to become the fullest expression of our timeless selves. So embrace the journey. Embrace the flow of time. Embrace the timeless you. And may your journey be filled with wonder, with joy, with love, and with the infinite possibilities of a timeless existence.